Okay, thank you, Freddie. That's quite an introduction. Thank you. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Amanda Hassall, and I'm really thankful and grateful that you are all here with me today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day or your evening if you are in Australia. So we're talking about Hypnotic-Ho'oponopono today, and it is a bit of a mouthful. So you can call it all kinds of things. So many different people have called it different things along the way. There's hypnotic hoopla, I think. My dad called it hop on, hop off. And then there's hop on, pop off. Which in Australia is a fart. I don't know if that's what that is in Europe. And then one of my personal favorites, hop up on a pony, which I've done some great metaphors around, which are great. But you can, whatever you call it, the principle of Ho'oponopono is basically one of forgiveness and reconciliation. So I thought I'd begin today's talk with just a moment of self-exploration. And I'm a real sort of experience it kind of a person. So there's a lot of different experiences all the way through. What I've done is I've kept the chat thing open on my side. So if you want to share your experiences during this talk, please do. I'd love to hear from you what you're experiencing, how things shift and change for you, because Ho'oponopono is a really wonderful and powerful thing. And I often find that if we start to share our experiences, then it might be that someone else here is also experiencing that, or maybe there's something else, and it generates a beautiful sort of discussion. So I'd love for you to share with that. So the first thing I wanted to work with is, if you could just take a moment to inquire within yourself at the moment where you can invite reconciliation and forgiveness into your life today, and just explore that. And it might be with others, it might be with yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, behaviors. It might be with your body, it might be with God, or the universe, the source of all that is. And when you explore where you can invite that reconciliation and forgiveness, I would also invite you to set an intent to welcome love and forgiveness and gratitude into those spaces, and to observe what happens when you welcome, when you make space for and you make room in yourself, in your life, in your heart or your body or wherever it is, for that love and gratitude and forgiveness. And you may wish to share your experiences. But usually when I set this intent for all of my clients before they even walk through the door. Some may feel an openness or a spaciousness within your heart or with themselves, and others might notice what they want to clear away, and others might notice what they want to have more of, or what they want to encourage more in their life. So when we are working with forgiveness and reconciliation, it really is just this moment of openness and a softening. And we're asking our clients and ourselves as hypnotherapists to open and soften with that. And I've got some things coming through. So Joe says it's a beautiful feeling of welcoming the love, and it radiates from my heart through my body. And Samantha says I'm feeling a calmness and a slowing down. Softening is definitely the word. So thank you, Samantha and Joe. So now that we are all softened and calm and all the rest of it, I wanted to talk to you about Ho'oponopono. And it's very simple. It's 4 sentences, and they are: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. And when we work with those 4 sentences, I start with I love you, but others sometimes start with I'm sorry. It really doesn't matter what order it is. When we work with those, we can start to create a whole pile of different changes within our clients, within ourselves. And I started using it as a personal practice. I'm maybe like A lot of you have heard Ho'oponopono first from Joe Vitale. I did his course. I'm sure lots of you have done his course too. And I started using it as a personal practice, and then I got really curious about how I could use it as a hypnotherapist with my clients. And so Hypnotic-Ho'oponopono is what came out of that. So I want to share with you a little bit about it. It's a clearing process. And one of my clients very early on described it as washing her soul's face. It's just one of those things where it wipes the slate clean, just brings you back to that space of who you are without the issue. And I talk a lot about that. Who are you without the issue? And it brings you back to that. So before pain state. So that moment where you've integrated not just the innocence and the grace of childhood, but you've also bringing in the wisdom of the experiences that you've moved through and worked through. And that's the absolute gift of Ho'oponopono. It gives you the ability to be able to be innocent and playful and fun and open and softened to the world, but carry along with you the wisdom that you've accumulated through the ages and through your time and experience in the world. So Ho'oponopono, I'll give you a little bit of history of it. We won't spend too much time on it because I'm no historian, but Ho'oponopono started in Hawaii. It's a Hawaiian practice, and literally ponopono means to clear and to make right. And it started, I mean, you can imagine Hawaii is an island, right? So you have to develop some really quick and effective ways to deal with issues between people, between tribes, between families really, really quickly, because you can't go anywhere. And what I find interesting now about what's happening with coronavirus and COVID-19 is that we're all of a sudden all on our own little personal islands, and we're all starting to perhaps notice those little bits of friction that we hold, or the dramas that we hold within our family units. And this is a perfect time to be able to use Ho'oponopono. So that's how it started, to reconcile differences on the outside. And then in the 70s, a wonderful lady called Morna Simone updated it to be more relevant with and turned it inwards. So instead of an outward focus, she turned it inwards, and it became more about reconciling your relationship with yourself and with God and the universe, the source, or whatever you call it. And one of her most famous students, Dr. Hugh Len, is the fellow that's credited with curing a whole mental ward, a prison mental ward in Hawaii State Hospital, and he basically just cleared them using Ho'oponopono. He didn't see them as clients or patients, just used Ho'oponopono with their files. And what he did was he used a process called total responsibility. And that's one of the, I guess, frameworks or foundations that Hypnotic-Ho'oponopono is based on. Does anyone know what total responsibility is? You can give me a little nod if you know what that is. No? Okay. So total responsibility is basically the concept that wherever there's an issue within your life, wherever there is something that you have an issue externally within your life, it is a reflection of you. It is a reflection of your internal landscape. So whatever is happening inside you becomes an expression on the outside. So when we look at, and I've got an experience with all this coronavirus going around, I wanted to share with you an experience that I had myself. I got the flu last week. We were already self-isolating. It's definitely the flu, don't worry, it's all good. But I had these really interesting moments where I was feeling like I had it. I had coronavirus. I was going to get sick. I was going to die. I'd infected my children. I'd spread it to my mum, who's older. You know, all these different things, right? You know, the thing that your brain just goes tick, 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 and it starts to create that huge roller coaster of chaos and stress. And then I slowed down and stopped myself. And I actually used the inquiry process, which is part of Hypnotic-Ho'oponopono. And some of you already know it. I know Kev does, and I know that there's a few others here that have actually trained as Hypnotic-Ho'oponopono practitioners. And it's very simple. It's five questions. And when you work with those 5 questions, you can start to turn issues around. So I thought I might invite you all to work with yourself and where you are within this corona sort of thing, any experience that you've had, any anxiety or worry or whatever is happening for you, and to run that issue through these 5 questions and to see where you come out, see how you come to the other side. So please feel free to share your conclusions in the chat, and I'll share them with the group as well. So the first question is, who are you with the issue? So what happens to you when you have the issue? So that's, how do you think, feel, behave? How do you treat yourself? How do you treat others? So when I was in my corona freakout, as I call it, I was imagining my son sick in bed. I was imagining a phone call from my mum saying, you know, the great guilt trip that mums do, right? Oh, you've given me the coronavirus, how could you? I was imagining my husband coming home from work, you know, and getting sick and being, you know, all of these things. So that was how I was feeling. Awful. I was feeling terrible. And it made me pay attention to all the aches and pains. And you know, so for example, that's what happened for me. So you might get an idea of how that works for you. The second question is, who are you without the issue? So in this instance, you aren't actually changing reality. So in my example of being sick during coronavirus craziness that's happening, I would still not be changing the fact that I had the flu, but I would be changing the fact that I had a problem with that. Yeah. So who are you without the issue? And in my experience, who I was without the issue was just a lady with a fever lying in bed getting well. Instead of, you know, imagining dying and other people dying and all the rest of it, I was just getting well instead of being sick and dying. So you might like to explore that for yourself. So what happens to you when you are experiencing whatever issue it is? The third question is an interesting one. It's a fun one. And it is, can you find a reason that's not stressful to keep the issue? Yeah. So we're looking for secondary gain here, right? We're looking for all of those different reasons why we want to keep something. And, you know, people might come up with a whole pile of different ones, but usually they're stressful. And the fourth question is, can you find a reason that's peaceful to keep it? So the same question, but just flipped around. Can you find a peaceful reason? And you can, you know, follow your client's language and use your client's language with that. It doesn't have to be peaceful. It can be relaxed. It can be at ease. It can be excited. It can be whatever it is, whatever your client's language is, right? And the fifth question is very, very simple as well. Can you see a reason to drop this issue? Or can you notice a reason or find one? And what those 5 questions do is they really start to work with the conscious and the subconscious mind together, and they start to shift the issue. So I know sometimes we talk a lot about stable force and about how an issue just, you know, uses that rule of inertia and just wants to keep on traveling, right? So with these questions, I found that's all you really need to create a sort of shift and a movement within that issue. And then the Ho'oponopono mantra just comes along and works with that and clears it away. So what did you experience with that? If you can apply your, yes, Carissa, I can, yes. So the 5 questions are, Carissa's just asked for me to repeat them. The 5 questions are, who are you with the issue? Who are you without the issue? Can you find a reason that's not stressful to keep the issue? Can you find a peaceful reason to keep the issue? And can you find a reason to let it go or to drop it? Usually I say drop it instead of let it go, because let it go sort of seems a little harder for some people, but dropping things is easy, right? You can drop stuff without even trying. Yeah. Pleasure, Caruso. And Joe's just added, she's felt similar anxiety around Corona and being sick, and it was quite freeing to let it go and drop the issue. Yeah. So I remember actually having a chat with Joe about that, and we were talking about it. Bit of a reality check, isn't it? Who are you with the issue and who are you without it? And can you see a reason to let it go? Oh, hell yeah. Okay, so the inquiry is a really important part of a session with Hypnotic-Ho'oponopono because it shifts the issue, it gets it moving. But there's a whole pile of other different sort of little frameworks that I wanted to go through with you all before we started to get to all the really fun stuff. So I've got a couple more beautiful experiences for you to be able to use, just not just for yourself, but with clients as well. So we talked about total responsibility. The next part of the framework is that we view our client as whole and healed already. So before they walk in, a bit like you, Freddie, saying to Kathy earlier, you know, that pain's gone, it will never come back. It's like that, but just before you even see them. Yeah. So it's like that. So it's about, sometimes, I'm not sure if you've ever had a client that all they needed was for you to believe in them. And this is like that. It's just future pacing your belief in your client. Yeah. So you're working with them as a hold and healed and whole unit before, instead of seeing them as damaged or just as the issue. And I think sometimes we get lost in that. We see the issue and not the person. And with this approach, we view them as whole. And the next one, which really relates to that, is that the future self guides the client. So we aren't creating any content here beyond the 4 sentences. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. We aren't using massive, wonderful metaphors. And I love metaphors. I speak in metaphors literally all the time, but we're not creating anything. It becomes content driven from the client, not from you. So you don't have to sit and prepare. You don't have to read a million scripts and know which pillar of an issue to knock out. You don't have to deal with excessive rumination or locus of control. It's just about what they bring to the table, and their future self, their healed and whole self, is what guides the client and what gives you the content and what gives you how you work. So you can work completely content free. You don't even have to know what their issue is. You can just work completely with what they bring to the table. And it's a really beautiful way of working with that. It's just nice. It's respectful, and I love to work like that. It's really nice. I mean, of course, when I trained, I did the whole metaphor thing and all the rest of it, and I still do that with clients. But the more that I allow my client to direct the session, the better they become. And I'm sure you've all experienced that as hypnotherapists as well. Okay, so the next part of the framework is that all problems are in the now. So all problems are in the now. I'm going to repeat that. That means that even if they've got an issue that is 20, 30, 40 years old, it's what they're creating in the now. And that means that we can heal it within the now and have that time frame effect that travels across time and space, which I love. If you look at that pain model, it's a pretty common one, but it's that moment where you have the event, and the event itself is neither good nor bad. So, it could be an accident, it could be someone breaking up with you, it could be whatever, right? So that event itself is neither good nor bad until we place our judgment on it. That wasn't right, that wasn't fair, that shouldn't have happened to me, I'm not good enough, all of those common tropes and beliefs that we attach to that. That's what causes the pain, when we believe those things. That person should love me, that person hurt me, all of those things. That's the pain, right? So when we continue to work with that, it's not in the past, that conclusion. We can just keep revisiting it and keep creating it. So when we begin to change it, we can change it and shift it on a belief level. That's why we use the inquiry. And then we can also shift it on an emotional level and a physical level, which is the Ho'oponopono mantra or the prayer. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. That's really fun to do. So the next part of the framework, and I'm going through this really quickly because I want to get to all the juicy, relaxing, lovely stuff, is that welcoming an emotion is the easiest way and the quickest way to clear it, right? So instead of creating a volcano of suppressed emotion, you're letting yourself and allowing yourself to feel it and just move through it is the quickest way to be on the other side of it. Yeah, pretty simple premise. And the last one that I find really important is that healing can be instant and ripples through all of your experience. And it depends how far down the rabbit hole you go, right? So it's your personal timeline, past, present, and future, your alternate realities, past and future lives, pre-birth, across this universe, across the next. It depends, where your belief system of how you sit within the universe lies. But healing is instant and it ripples. And if you've looked into quantum physics, that entanglement theory, so you can make a change here and this changes instantly, if that makes sense. And there's been some really great experiments. There was the biophoton experiment done by Fritz Albert Popp, I think. And so he did this experiment where he put some oil on someone's hand and the biophotons changed in that, but they also instantaneously began changing in different areas of the body. And so that's an example of quantum entanglement. So one moment of healing in time rippling across. And I really believe that that is something incredibly powerful. I've experienced that myself, traveling through my own timelines and creating healing in all different sorts of aspects and ways. And it's a really beautiful way to be able to apply Ho'oponopono. So if you think about it, you can usher that love and gratitude and forgiveness all the way through, not just yourself, but by changing one part of you or helping your client to change one part of themselves, you are setting off a ripple effect that changes not just that one thing, but everything about them, about their lives, about how they experience things. Carissa says that's also the reason why you can change the past and you can change the present or the future. Absolutely right. Yes, absolutely. So I'm glad we're all on the same page. That's wonderful. So let's do some fun stuff now. One of my greatest loves is to work with the head, the heart, and the gut. And I've done a lot of training with Christopher Snyder's and his 3 brains work. It's not MBIT, it's something very different. So if you're curious about it, you can look up Christopher Snyder's and his 3 brains. But we're asking the question in this experiment, oh, am I experimenting on you? In this experience, we are asking the question with our head, and we're going to ask our hearts and our guts to answer the question. And it's been my experience both personally and with clients, when you ask the question, the heart rises to meet it with an answer and the gut rises to meet it with an answer. So just for a moment, if you want to get yourselves nice and comfortable, it's not hypnosis, it's just a little inward exploration. And as we do that, we can just begin to breathe. And we're just going to do a heart breath, and just however that works for you, just breathing into your heart. Eyes open, eyes closed, but just noticing with every breath in, a softening and an opening of the heart. And with every breath out, just let yourself relax into that space even more. So you breathe in and open. You might use color or a visual like a flower opening. And then as you breathe out, just let that relax into that space. That's all right. And just keep on breathing. As you breathe into your heart, we're going to ask a question. When you've landed in your heart, you'll notice that sense of openness, or however you know that you're there. That's right. That's all right. So we're going to ask a question, and it's going to be this, and please feel free to share your answers if you choose. My future self is whole and healed. What can I do today to support that? And when you ask, just wait for the heart to answer. And you might want to write that down for yourself or later. And in my experience, it happens in feelings and sensations and understandings, but you might have something clear and concise. And you can let your brain interpret the answer, your head brain interpret the answer, and your heart brain. Good. And we're going to keep on going. We're going to go down to the gut now, down to the belly. So sometimes, it helps to put your hand just below your belly button. And sometimes I like to imagine that there is a bowl of water in my pelvis. And with every breath in, the bowl of water just has that little ripple of air that brushes over the top. But however you bring yourself down into your belly, whether it's with your breath, whether it's with your awareness or your presence, just bringing yourself there. Now here in the gut, this is the space of creating anxiety. So if there's any issues or worries or fears in here, this is where they'll show. And sometimes it's butterflies or other different experiences. And if you're experiencing something that feels uncomfortable to you, then you can use the Ho'oponopono mantra here. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. And just repeat that. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Until it passes. And we're going to ask the same question to our gut that we asked the heart. My future self is whole and healed. What can I do today to support that? And let the answer rise to meet you. And again, if there's any uncomfortable feelings here, then it's just about allowing yourself to use whatever way you work through it. But of course, my favorite way is, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And as amazing hypnotherapists here, you're very used to exploring your inner universe. And I invite you to explore your heart and your gut in all kinds of different ways. And if you have any uncomfortable feelings, again, you can clear them using Ho'oponopono or any of the other ways that you know and can work through with very clearly and very well. So while you're coming back with your answers, your gut, if you feel like sharing what you had or what came up for you, please do. Samantha said, and this was for the heart, that her heart was very clear and the answer was laughter and exercise. I love that. Beautiful. Thank you, Samantha. Yeah, the heart is very clear. And often we find as it rises to meet you, the more you create that communication, the more you invite it in and welcome it in, the easier it is to hear what your heart says. So in Hypnotic-Ho'oponopono, we work with the heart. Its highest expression is love, and I always call the gut's highest expression power. And it's how we move through the world, how we express ourselves through the world. And Kathy says, my heart has more joy and gratitude. Lovely, Kathy, well done. And Rutha says, read my gut, listen more. Yeah, we don't listen to our gut much at all. And Samantha says, from my gut, meditation, which is something I can't really practice, but I'll give it a go. Yeah, and you know, we get so stuck with meditation, we think it's supposed to be this movement where we're just this, you know, Zen thing, but simply that communication between gut and heart and head, surely that's meditation. I call that meditation because it's that bringing into alignment of all these different sources of our own wisdom. So, you know, I would definitely call that. And Damien says there's a meditation I do every morning. My heart likes it. Awesome. Good stuff. So it's all about accessing your own wisdom. And that's really what Hypnotic-Ho'oponopono wants to do. It sources you in your own power. Okay. So here's the bit where we get Freddie out. Are you feeling ready, Freddie?
I'm totally relaxed and ready. I don't know what for, but yeah, I'm ready for it, whatever it is.
Woo. Good. Thank you so much for being the little volunteer. So basically,
I don't think there's very much choice. You just told me. You can't hear me, can you?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I was sort of recruited. I didn't feel. You know, I didn't give him much choice. You said you're going to be the subject, and that's
Is that the story?
Don't worry, because I love this. I've just enjoyed that last little bit, so I'm still in that. So that was great. Yeah, lovely.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm all yours. I'm all yours. Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay. So this is just, I guess, something that you can take into a space, into a session with a client. I mean, obviously, you can take all the other things that we've done with a client, but this is like a whole session in a little mini moment. So, Freddie, maybe you don't have to tell us details because we can go completely content free if you like. But maybe you can find something that you have an issue with, or something where you want to find something you want to shift or change. And you know, you can keep all of that in your head. You don't have to share it.
Can it be something that I want to have more of?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, you got it?
Yep.
Okay, so if you want more of it, you're experiencing a lack of it at the moment. Would that be right?
I've got it to a level. Let me say it's discipline. I know I was speaking to actually another panelist that I've been working with, strangely enough, Sandra Grace. I think I saw her name here, and she's been helping me as well. But I still feel like I need more discipline. I'm writing and creating. I just want to feel. I want to be more disciplined than I am. I'm reasonable. I am fairly good, but I want to be more disciplined about it. There's some books I need to get out quick. because I
All
don't
right.
know how long I've got. So
Okay. Everyone's like, oh, oops, tell us more, Freddie.
well, after we've got to work together today, and with the help of Sandra, who's been working with me as well, we're working each other online. I'm sure I'll get them out, get the books out. So that's it. That was the thing that came to mind. I still need to be more disciplined about spacing my time to do the writing and taking
Okay.
myself out from everything else. So if you want to work on
Okay.
that would be great.
Let's work with that. I love it. That's good.
Work,
And then,
work till you get the first book.
woo,
Time.
signed?
Yeah.
Deal. Let's do it. Can't wait. But it's done. I hope you can post all the way to Australia.
I'll bring it.
You'll bring it? Nice. Even better.
Let's organise that. That'd be good.
Okay. I can't wait. That'll be awesome. Okay, good. All right. So what happens to you, Freddie, when you want more discipline? So you're with the issue, but you notice you don't have it. So you want it, but you don't have it. What happens to you with the issue? So I want this, but I don't have it. How does it happen? What does it work with your head, your heart, your gut, your feelings, behaviors?
It's just, yeah, it's like you were saying, it's more a feeling of lacking, it's lacking something. Maybe I expect too much of myself, because I do a lot, you know, I'm pretty creative and I'm pretty disciplined in most things. I just, but with this one issue at the moment, I just think I need to be a little bit more disciplined about this area of my life, taking the time out specifically to sit,
Okay.
separate myself from everything else, everything I'm doing, you know, to just sit and write.
Okay. So you want to just sit and write, but you're not doing it. So is that what? I don't want to put feelings in your mouth.
I started doing it, but I need to be. I know that I can get distracted.
Okay.
From that
Cool.
one specific thing.
Right. So what I'm hearing is that you're lacking that sort of discipline. You're expecting too much of yourself, and you want to have more. You want to take time out, but you notice that you get distracted and you're off doing other things.
I don't think my belief is I'm not expecting too much of myself. I believe that I'm not achieving what I believe I can. So okay. I have a reasonable belief about, you know, what my expectation of myself is. I'm lacking the discipline to make that happen.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that's you with the issue.
Yeah.
What emotions are there?
I can't say I'm feeling too emotional about it. It's just, as I said, it's I'm not beating myself up over it too much. I tend not to do that. I always feel there's enough people want to do that to me anyway, so I'd rather not get on their side with that. So yeah, I don't feel too bad. As I said, it's the one area of my life I just feel I need a little bit more of, to be a little more disciplined in that one area of my life.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So with the issue, feeling like you don't have quite enough discipline. Yeah. Okay. All right. So Freddie, who are you without the issue?
If it's a word, it'd be frustration, I suppose.
Frustration.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good. All right. So without the issue, who are you?
I'm the best writer in the world, and I'm prolific.
Yeah.
I'm churning out books month after month. That's who I am without that problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Giving Kev lots of work.
Yeah. No, I'm afraid that he's gonna be too busy to look after me like he has been. So he's promised me he's not.
Okay, cool. So without the issue, you're the best writer in the world. You're churning books out month after month. Creativity's flowing, discipline's there, and you just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the issue, I'm sitting in my loft window, looking out across the sea, writing prolifically.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, that's nice. I love it. Okay, so with the issue, frustrated, a little lack of discipline, wanting to take time and make more time and do that, getting distracted without the issue. Best writer in the world. You've got that beautiful vision of you looking out over the ocean, just over the sea, just writing and writing and writing. Okay, I love it. Well done. So can you see a reason that's not stressful to keep that I need more discipline issue?
A reason to keep it?
Yeah, that's not stressful.
No.
Okay, good.
I can't see any reason to keep it.
Yeah. Okay, can you find a peaceful reason to keep it?
Only that it's, you know, there's a part of me that's likes to sit and do not very much. So I suppose that if there's a peaceful reason to keep it, then it would be to satisfy that kind of lazy side of me, I suppose.
Okay.
If you make that
Well,
sense. But, you know, no, I can't really see any great reason, because the buzz of having a book out, another book out, would be far outweigh any pleasure I get from sitting and doing nothing.
okay, good. So is it possible to be without the issue and also have a sit and not do much moment every now and then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's,
I mean,
it's
that's again, you know, I'm sure I saw Sandra's name pop up, but that's something we're working on as well. In working on, you know, especially at the moment when we're at home, to try and get some kind of routine where you do have that downtime. You're not just thinking, I've got to be doing something, got to be doing something, but at the same time as working in some kind of area where you are being productive in some way.
Beautiful. Okay, so the reason to keep it, the peaceful reason, is not really a reason to keep it at all, is it?
No.
Okay, good. Alrighty. So can you find a reason to drop the issue?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, sure.
The pleasure of knowing that something that's come from your own head is helping people. And as the book I'm thinking about, I believe, will help people move in their own life in a positive way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is a reason to drop the lack of discipline problem.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Nice. So that's the inquiry part of it. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to ask you, Freddie, to cup your hands just together like this. Actually, before we do that, rub your hands nicely together. And when you feel like it's ready, you can cup your hands like you're going to hold something. And what I'm going to invite you to do is put inside your hands you with the issue. Yeah? So however that is, even if it's just the idea of it, and just let me know when it's there.
Yeah.
You got it? Okay, good. So I'm going to work with you with this, and you just repeat after me. Towards that you with the issue inside your hands. I love you.
I love you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go one more time. I love you.
I love you.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Please forgive me.
Me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a nice deep breath. Tell me about what's happening in your hands.
I mean, the words, it felt like I was about to do something or get rid of the me with the issue. And I was apologising for the fact I'm just about to abandon him. That's in my mind. And just,
Sure.
I'm sort of, that's how it was feeling when I was saying those words, as if, you know, I'm just about to get rid of him or get rid of that part of me, if you like.
Nice. Okay, so if we check in with that part of you that's there, what's happening for Freddie in your hands?
That part of me, that Freddie in my hand's gone. I can't see him.
Okay, right. So the issue's gone.
Yeah, I've sacked him, if you like.
Oh, well, that was easy.
I believe, you know, the thank you part and the I love you part of those words, as if he has done something for me, or he thought he was doing something.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he's gone.
Okay, lovely. So that's beautiful. You did that so easily and so well. Um, I'm kind of at a loss now because normally we take a few rounds to go through. And then very naturally, you've just let it go, which is beautiful.
Well, that's the thing. My first thought, to be honest with you, was just because I was apologising. I was almost like, because it was my hand, I was going to crush it. Like, that's it, done. That bit gone. But I just decided to sack it instead and say, like,
Okay.
that was what broke my head.
Okay. Good. All right. That's good. All right. So there's one more part of this. And Freddie, if you just close your eyes just for a moment. And we're going to call in you without the issue, and just make sure that it's completely just all the way through, Freddie, without the issue. So however that is, whether that's moving from the top of your head all the way down to your toes, letting every cell just get acquainted with you without the issue. Notice your energy. And it might feel like a breeze, or the warmth of the sun, or the waves rolling over you, like the sea that you look out on when you're writing. And just notice every part of you. Taking note, the creative part, the excited part, the part that plans, the part that motivates, the part that disciplines. All of those different parts of you just coming into alignment there, in every cell in your body, and the spaces between the cells, all the atoms and the spaces between the atoms, just vibrating as you. And when that's really, really set within you, you can bring yourself out as you without the issue, but only when it's you without the issue.
That's great.
Good. Some beautiful things have been held in the palms of hands. Sometimes your clients will want to keep something that's in there. And so, there's been some amazing transformations, pearls and gems and flowers and little ballerinas and horses and amazing, gorgeous things that have come from an issue, whether it's grief or anxiety or worry or trauma or whatever it is. So many things I've worked with this. And, the valuable parts of ourselves are what we can choose to keep. And sometimes we choose to completely let it go, and that's okay too. So however that flows with the client, whether Freddie, you chose to very naturally and very automatically and easily, and I love how well you did that. You just let it go, gone, done. But for others, there is like a gem or a pearl of wisdom that comes from that. And it's a very beautiful process to use. So I invite you to explore it. There's some comments on here. Thanks, useful to witness. Thank you. Have I used this with very young children? Very, very young. How young are you talking? I think the youngest I've used it is about 8. But you could probably have a little play, a little play story about, loving and forgiving, and that, creating a hypnotic moment that way. Definitely. So should we turn, I'm not sure how you work with this, Freddie, should we turn on the comments so people can ask questions instead of typing it in?
Yeah, I mean, the line that you used earlier, I don't know whether that's part of this, where we're at. I mean, maybe I'm jumping the gun, but I just thought it was really nice. About the, I don't know how you put it now, the future, well, the future self. How did you put that?
Yeah, healed and whole.
healed and whole. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Your future self healed and whole, and then what you can do now to create that. Say those words again for me, because they were great.
Yes, sure. Okay, so when we're talking with the head and the heart and the gut, it was, my future self is whole and healed. What can I do today to support that?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think, you know, that after what we've just done, I thought I thought that was what was coming next, because that sort of finishes. You know, I've seen let go of the me with the problem, and I've seen myself, you know, without that problem. That's just seems now see your future self whole and healed, which would be me with a stack of books, people lining up. And what can I do today to support that? It just feels like that I can hear myself saying those words, because it resonates with, you know, the kind of work that I do. So I think that's really good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's a really powerful question, and you know, in NLP, where there's often that moment where you look at your future self, or you model the behavior change that you want to see by, you know, looking at it from the outside. But this approach is inside out.
The way I do it in a sort, I do it in a different way, but I like these words. But I say, go out into the future and see yourself having achieved your goal. You know, step into your body, feel what it feels like, see what you see, a bit of NLP kind of language. Now look back, now notice the things you did along the way that led to that feeling.
Yeah.
So we're both working in the same kind of outcome, but we work with it in different words. But I love this. You know, my future self is whole and healed. I just think that those words, to say it to yourself, and then what can I do today to support that? I think that's excellent. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Change is such a progression, isn't it? So, you know, you see it with yourself and with clients. You have these amazing goals, but then you forget to chunk it down into those bite-sized things. And when we check with our intelligence, you know, our heart and our gut, and you know, even our brain, you know, we start to have that understanding of how we can move forward, and what steps do we need to work with that. And actually, Chris has said it reinforces that all therapies are self-therapies, and it's the person, whoops, it's gone. It's the person that's responsible for transformation. Yeah, it's a cool approach. Thanks. It is a cool approach. I love it. Yeah. And
great. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And Carissa says it's almost like a reverse future face. Yeah. Yeah. What can you do to support yourself in a state that's already your future? So yeah.
I think whatever therapy you do, I think that's to get someone to do that, you know, to say those words, or to visualize, like, you know, the future pace, and see yourself whole and healed, you know, and then what can you do today to support that? What can you do right now? You know, because most of us have ideas of how we want to be, but we don't look at that other step. You know, what can I do today to support that? So I think those words are very, very good. Yeah.
Thanks.
And permission, you were talking about that one way, permission and responsibility. And I think a lot of clients, they come in and it's almost like they want, I don't think it's they want you to give them permission, but they want to be allowed to give themselves permission to let go of the problem.
Yeah.
You know, I think that with pain as well. I think that's what I think was happening. People are just, you say, look, you can give yourself permission to let this go. You can ignore it. Permission to ignore it. And I think, you know, these words. And when Kevin first spoke to me about these, when he first met you, and he had a profound effect on Kevin. I know it did. And he told me that. And I think we might have even been at my little office here in Hornsey. And I walked home and I was repeating those words. There was an issue in my life at the time. You know, someone was trying to do me, you know, it was attacking me in a certain way, if you like. And it was someone that I'd actually liked, so that was even harder. But then when I spoke to Kevin and I walked home and I purposely aimed at that person those words, you know, I love you, you know, forgive me.
I'm sorry, please
Sorry,
forgive me. Thank you.
sorry, forgive me, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, and because it resonates both ways, you know, whatever you might have done in that situation that would have caused that person to feel whatever they're feeling, then obviously you owe that to yourself as well, because we're human and we make mistakes and we do things. Yeah. So I think that those words of just healing. You know, I know I've watched a bit of the guy that you were talking about who did the thing with the mental hospital, and he says he actually doesn't. He just does it on himself. Is that how you work as well?
Yeah, yeah. So that's
to clean yourself, if you like.
And as the facilitator, you're bringing your stuff to the table as well, which is, I guess, something that we all do, where, you know, regardless of what we're doing in hypnosis or hypnotherapy. But specifically, yeah. So, you know, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I was holding my hands out there, and then, you know, in my hands was Amanda without the issue, right? So whether it's anxiety or whether it's trauma or whatever we're working with, yes, you put yourself in there too. So, and it becomes that total responsibility aspect again. So when you clear and work with yourself in that regard, then your client has that space. I can't remember who wrote it, but I've read really recently about your clients can only go where the hypnotherapist has traveled, right? So you need to be able to be this broad, you know, space holder of experience, so that your client can move within all those realms of healing and clarity and love. Yeah.
I don't do healing. I don't consider myself a healer. Some other people might, because people have had benefits from working for me, and I would say, well, that's a healing process. But I do think if you have to your best ability anyway, do your own cleaning for that to come through you, because otherwise there's a lack of credibility. But we all know that when you're in hypnosis, your senses are heightened as opposed to being dulled. And you can sense if someone's not genuine in their self. When they're saying to you, I can help you do this and I can help you do that. If you're not working on their own issues, if they're not working in clearing out all their own things, then to some extent, they don't even have a right to sit in that chair and say, I can help you overcome your problems.
Exactly.
You know, when I teach people, I say, I don't expect you to be perfect, because none of us are. But we should at least be striving to be the best we can be, whatever that is, you know, within ourselves, so we can sit there and say, oh, I can help you achieve what you want to achieve. So I think the whole Ho'oponopono process of repeating those words to yourself, I think it is a great process. And even as you said, whether you're aiming it outwardly at someone or whether you're aiming it at yourself, either way, I think it's a great healing process.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I believe in it so much. It's changed my experience in so many different ways. Obviously, it's not the only thing I use, but it's incredible the effects that it has on and it just ripples through the whole experience.
I think because forgiveness is, you know, I've had clients and they have been very badly treated, and they've been, you know, they have. And when you say to someone, look, you need to forgive that person. And it's you know, some people can get upset about that. Why should I forgive them? They've done this or done that. But the fact is that once that, whatever the damage was done, the chance those people aren't even in their life anymore. And they're still holding on to that anger and that frustration. And the only person it's now affecting is themselves.
It's themselves, yeah.
So even if, you know, before I even heard about Ho'oponopono, I would say to people, you know, you need to just in your own head, even if you don't really feel it or mean it, you need to say it. You know, I forgive you. And I just think these words and what you're doing with people and the way you're working, I think it's great. I know because I've seen, you know, how I've first hand from Kevin, you know, because he's used it with you, and now he's using it himself.
Yeah.
Whether he was the lovely person he is before he met you or not, I don't know, but he is.
He's muted, so he just has to take it. Yeah. But to that point, so if you're if we're working with someone that's that's in trauma or has had an experience with someone, so you know, I've used this with women who've experienced domestic violence, you know, all kinds of different things. So you're not even apologizing or asking forgiveness or forgiving the other person. You're just forgiving that was hurt in that situation. And you're telling that person, I'm so sorry that you were there. I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And it's never about the other person. It's never about what's outside. It's always about the inside and the judgments that we place on that. Because often with trauma, especially, you'll find that there's that, you've probably found in your own work with that it's the judgment that they place on themselves that can be just as devastating as the actual abuse or the actual experience of trauma that they've done, whether it's a one-off or a consistent, you know, exposure to traumatic experience. It's that I should have been able to look after myself. I'm not worthy of being able to, you know, be healed, and all of those different tropes that start to run around that are painful and cause.
You can distance yourself from the perpetrator, but you can't distance yourself from yourself, can you?
That's right. Yeah.
You know, that's the problem. You're living with yourself, and so you know, to be able to forgive yourself for whatever it is that we do, because we all, you know, we spoke earlier about my expectation of myself in this writing situation, and I have high expectation of myself. And I think when we don't meet our expectations, and we sometimes expect too much of ourselves as human beings, you know, when we make mistakes, we do things that are wrong, you know, we just, our expectation is greater than that. And so then that's the point where we're beating ourselves up. Yeah. I think by running this Ho'oponopono and doing it, especially if people you've taught to go into self-hypnosis and do it, or using hypnosis as well to do it, I think it's a very powerful tool. I think it's very, very good what you're doing. That's great.
Yeah. Good. So hopefully everyone's kind of got an extra tool that they can use with themselves or with clients now, you know, just whacking them in the hands and doing the mantra. It's never fails.
That's great. Well, you can look forward to the book.
Yeah, my book or your book?
Your book. Well,
my book.
The book I'm going to send to you, will bring to you. I've got other people on my side, and Sandra, I think Sandra Grace on here, she's been helping me as well. We work together, encouraging each other to do things. So I'll have to get both your books to you at the same time, otherwise, because you're both working on the same problem with me.
Oh, so, yeah, I wouldn't want to step on Sandra's toes. That's okay.
We're all free to get together, and I'll give them to you at the same time. There won't be any.
Yeah, all right. Party in Australia. Woo!
You did the final push, yeah.
Awesome. Oh, good. There's lots of comments coming in on the side about combining Ho'oponopono with Reiki and the principles of Reiki. And yes, I absolutely agree. So the just for today, I will anger, I will not worry, I will count my many blessings, I will work diligently, meditate, I will be kind to everyone and every living thing. And using Ho'oponopono completes that process. Yeah, I agree. It's very cool how we can use hypnosis to make any modality better, right? So Ho'oponopono by itself is awesome, but then adding hypnosis and hypnotic language and using the, you know, parts therapy and timeline therapy and all the different skills that we have, we can integrate them all and just make a huge healing experience. And that's what I love. And when I teach hypnotic Ho'oponopono, that's what I teach it as. I teach it as a framework, and then I say, go, be free, you know, make up all kinds of different ways of using it, because I'm certainly not the expert on it. I just have a way of doing it that works really well for me. And I would encourage you all to explore ways that work with Ho'oponopono with you as well. I have got a website coming out, aka the awesome Kev Webster is helping me out with that. And so if you feel like you want to do some further training with me, obviously at the moment it's all online, and please feel free to reach out, and I'd love to help you out. So yeah,
I mean,
it's a really fun thing.
It's been great meeting you, to be honest with you, because we spoke online, but it's the first time I've met you.
Yeah.
Virtually, maybe one day we'll meet in person. I love what you do. I love your whole the persona, really. Because you can see you're using it on yourself. It comes across as authentic. You're not just saying these words. You're not just saying, okay, well, let's do it this way. It strikes me that and I'm sure everyone else feels the same way by looking at you and listening to you. Your passion for it as well, that you're using it on yourself. And I think that's the best way for all of us to get what we do across, by just being authentic within ourselves and living what we teach, if you like. And it definitely comes across with you, Amanda. So and some of the things, as I said, that you've spoken about today, I've written them down. I think they're great. So yeah, we'll check out your website.
Yeah, when it's all set up. That's great, and I look forward to supporting anyone that wants to reach out, you included, Freddie, to using Ho'oponopono in your practice. Reach out, give us a call.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. And look, I'm going to pop my email in here real quickly. I should have done that before. If you have any questions, please reach out. And did I type it right? Yes, I did. Please reach out and flick me an email. You can find me on Facebook, Amanda Hassall. I'm the one that's friends with 1 million hypnotherapists, as I guess you all are too, right? Maybe we're already friends. I don't know. I'd be delighted to help you. So support you in any way, shape or form. Any questions, just bring it on.
Okay.
That's
well, have a lovely day.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone.